was on the board. I'm about to introduce myself to these people. They don't know me anyway, so. I thought you would. I knew you'd like that. Where's my water? Thank you. No, it's really, whether it's mine or yours.
No, I know, there's no problem.
Hope not. I rushed every time he writes me an email. He loves that. He sent that thing out. Oh, George, you can. I said, sounds like something I would write. He loved it. Let me see if they got the right name.
Yeah. That's the right guy.
All right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you.
There you go.
I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Bonita Springs Fire Control and Rescue District, Monday, May 14th, 2018, to order. Please rise for a prayer from Chaplain Chitwood, followed by the pledge.
We want to have a moment of silence and honor those firemen that have perished in duty across the U.S. this past month, and there's been 11 this month. Let's have a moment of silence for them, and then I'll pray. Dear God, we come today to give honor to those that have served faithfully and have made the ultimate sacrifice in helping others. And we pray, Lord, that you will be with these that have passed from this earth. We pray that you'll be with their families, that you will watch over them and guide them and bring them comfort. And Lord, as always, we ask for protection for the firefighters here in Bonita, that you will surround them with your care and that you will watch over them, that you'll keep them safe. We thank you for their dedication and their service and all they do for everyone that's in this city. Be with those that lead the department, the administrators and chiefs. Give them wisdom and insight as the commissioners also as they guide and direct. We thank you for the freedom we have and the privilege we have of serving together. It's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any public comments on agenda items this evening? Seeing none, I need a motion for the approval of the April 9th, 2018 regular meeting minutes.
I'd like to make an amendment to that before we approve it, if I could.
I need a motion first.
I'll move that we approve it.
Second.
Okay, your correction?
We used the word liaison to the community last month in thinking about doing our park, and instead I volunteered to be a liaison to the Chamber of Commerce.
Correct. Make that note, please, for the record. Any other corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
One motion, approval of 2018 and current expenditures and ACH payments, the acknowledgement of the financial report, and acknowledgement of wire transfers and transfers between accounts.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item is always a pleasure. The Phoenix Award. Chief.
Yes, sir. I'm going to turn this over to Deputy Chief Scott for the report.
Good afternoon. So we're here to present a Phoenix Award for our outstanding treatment and care of our emergency responders that results in restoration of life. The Phoenix is our most prestigious award, and we only give it to, as I just mentioned, to where we have a patient or a person, a victim that we respond to that has no pulse, no breathing. So they are clinically deceased without intervention from our responders. So we have quite a few people in the audience today to celebrate the survival of a person that's in our audience. So we like to turn this into a celebration as well, because and I'll mention, because she's in here, Liza's here with her, that wasn't me, with her family, friends, and as actually extended family. So it lets you start to realize the difference that we make out there. And I want to remind everybody in this room, from the commissioners and everybody that has to do with this fire department, and Lee County EMS, all the emergency responders, take a look. This is what we do. So, on March 29th at 2:48, we had a call that came in as a cardiac arrest. And a family member initiated chest compression, CPR. I paused for a minute to talk about a little bit of education that we always put out there when we talk about these incidents. Bystanders, family members, anybody that witnesses these things is absolutely necessary for survival. We have had quite a few survivors this year of sudden cardiac arrest. Every single one of them, there has been someone there that has started chest compressions and done CPR. We have had none where that hasn't happened. So for everybody in the audience, your friends, family, anybody you talk to, learn CPR and don't be afraid to intervene and do this, because you see, again, what comes from it. Okay? So once the family member started the chest compressions and CPR, about a minute later, we had a Lee County SO deputy, Dominic Bernard, arrived within a minute. He was on a call nearby, heard the call come in, he rushed over and took over CPR and chest compressions. Actually, at this time, if you could come up to the front of the room. Probably his quick response, he beat us there, the ambulance and the fire crews, because we took about 4 minutes, but sometimes 4 or 5 minutes may be too long. So he may have made, between the two of them, the difference in survival. You have to start that to move the blood and the oxygen to keep someone alive. So we thank him very much for his intervention. Next, Engine 21 and Medic 37 from Lee County EMS arrived on scene within 4 minutes after the call. Took over patient care, including CPR, advanced airway. We placed it in advanced airway. We administered the proper medications. We did a cardiac interpretation with our cardiac monitor, and we did several shocks or defibrillations because of the rhythm we saw. So I'd like to bring those individuals up. On Engine 21 was Lieutenant Paramedic Jim Lamb. This is his 8th Phoenix Award. I hate to say this, but I think he's got the most in the entire department with 8. And I'm being sarcastic here. It's great that he hasn't, but if you knew Jim, you'd understand why. I hate to say it. He's very good at his job, obviously. The next is firefighter paramedic Matt Lorich with his 2nd Phoenix Award. I don't know if he's in the audience tonight. He's not here. And then our first one, firefighter paramedic, one of our new employees, Declan Allison. Now with them, our unit, Medic 37 from Lee County EMS, also arrived on scene, and we have their paramedic, Ken Veltman, who has been serving the community of Bonita Springs for 30 years. He has been here almost his entire career. So several of us in this room started 25 or more years ago. One of the first people I met from EMS was Ken, and he's still working here today. So he's part of our family as well. And his partner, who works for the fire department here as a firefighter and also for Lee County EMS, he happens to be on duty, so he's wearing our uniform, is firefighter EMT Andy Sertnick. So I have one more thing to kind of throw out there. When we have our new firefighters, EMTs, paramedics that we train, we talk to them and remind them that every single patient that we treat and we go to, we treat them as family. Whether it's, your children, like they're your own. Children, brother, sister, mother, father, grandparents. In this case, it actually was one of our lieutenants' family members that we were treating that we didn't find out until afterwards. So it's a very small community here. So I just wanted to recognize that we do treat everyone like family. So at this time, I think Liza or one of her family members would like to come up and say something. If you'd like to come up.
Thank you all so very much for being here. It's easy to say the whole cliche that the Lord sends down earthly angels in the form of people to take care of you in times of need. And I'm sure you all have heard this. And here I am saying it again. But a thank you could never be enough. When my life was in your hands, your extremely rapid service and expertise in what you do is the reason why I'm able to stand here today. With my family and friends along with yours, and I could have never dreamed of this. It's because of you. When I find myself inundated with doctor's appointments and sometimes getting frustrated with the deer in headlight looks like, what? You're standing here a month later, you're like, I need to take a deep breath, thank you, Lord, and remember the first responders who did not give up on me. You did not hesitate for a second, and in the words of my dad, it was the fastest emergency response he's ever seen, and he was blown away. It's because of him and my husband finding me and performing that initial CPR that he spoke of, and the very fast actions of you all that I am here and standing here. For those of you who did not know or do not know, I did suffer at-home sudden cardiac arrest where 325,000 people of all ages, according to, let me get my facts straight, SCAawareness.org, suffer yearly, and 9 out of 10 do not make it. But if there are people who are there to give CPR and to help the initial, the survival rate either doubles or even triples because of that, because of the people who are willing to step up. And my feeling was told if I did wake up, I might not be able to speak or be the same again. And I credit my life to you all. I just want you to know every night I go to bed praying for you and your families and thanking you. Because, let's face it, without you all, I would not be here. And I also would love to thank my family and my support system, because without you, I would not be here as well. So my heart literally beats for you. Thank you so very much.
Apologize for my voice.
He's lost it.
The simple phrase, thank you, simply cannot express the gratitude I have for everyone that was involved with saving Liza's life. I look back often at the events that transpired on March 29th, and I am overwhelmed with the amount of urgency, care, knowledge, and expertise that you all displayed. The passion and dedication that you have in your profession shine through in such an awe-inspiring way. It is apparent that you train repeatedly to make such a horrible event survivable. There was no hesitation when you found us in the task at hand. In one of the worst moments of my life, you all stepped up and took care of my wife in the best possible manner. And the confidence in your abilities gave me hope, even though everything looked so bleak. I have an abundance of respect and appreciation for each and every one of you. You all chose a profession that speaks volumes about your character. What you do on a daily basis proves that you are heroes. You took an honorable and noble job in our community that is beyond stressful and excel where many of us would fall short. Because of you all, the love of my life is still here today. Our son still has his beautiful mother, and we were blessed with being able to carry on as a family. I thank God repeatedly for putting each and every one of you where you were that day. God bless you all and your families. I hope one day, in some way, I can repay the favor. My prayer for you comes from Joshua 1:9. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Thank you all so much.
If I may, sir.
Yes.
MDA presentation.
Well, if that doesn't jerk a tear, then you might as well not.
Amen.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you all for that presentation. Thank you very much, Liza. And we appreciate you coming here, and we're happy to be in your service. And that's all I have, Chairman.
We have one more thing under this agenda that's a
Yes, sir.
feel-good, that then I'll call a brief recess so everybody doesn't have to stay for the whole meeting, but we're going to do the MDA check presentation.
Yes, sir. I'd introduce Mr. Firefighter Randy McGovern, who basically heads up our MDA program and works with the MDA.
Good evening, everybody.
How you doing?
All right. Well, I was going to actually write something out, but my wife told me not to do that because it'd take too much time. So I'm going to kind of make this brief, and then I'm going to let Ms. Nichols here. She is actually the MDA. She works directly for the MDA Association. So basically, it was a wonderful year this year, 2018. We ended up surpassing our totals from last year by about $5,000. So that was a great thing. We ended up raising about $45,000 for the MDA this year. So yeah, every year it's continued to grow. We're very pleased with that. I just want to say a big thank you to the firefighters, our BCs that were out there in the streets that actually ended up helping out doing this, and for such a great cause. They did not complain. One of the things that we did do, we kind of bumped it up to February instead of March. Come to find out, it was the hottest February that we had. So that weekend, they were complaining about the heat, but that was about it. I just want to say a special thank you to Publix.
GFS, a few other BJ's, Walmart. They ended up making some donations to us for all of our drinks, our food and stuff, so a big thank you to them. So that way we're actually be able to provide food and stuff for the firefighters while they're out there for lunch and stuff. And at that point, I'm going to turn it over to Cindy Nichols here.
Nice job.
Good evening. I'm Cindy Nichols. I'm the Executive Director of the Muscular Dystrophy Association. And I just want to mirror what Randy said a little bit and thank everybody. Without the support of Local 3444, our administration, and the commissioners, I want to thank you guys for allowing the firefighters to go out there and collect. I want to thank the firefighters. It's hot out there. I know it's hard work. I'm like, you're just holding a boot, but it's way more than that. They're playing in traffic, and I really appreciate that. I want to thank Randy, of course. Randy, he makes it all happen. He's thanking Publix and all that, but he's using his own time. He's going out there, and he's getting donations, and he's feeding the firefighters, and he's barbecuing, and he's doing all of that. So thank you very much. I wanted to thank someone else. There's so many people to thank. But he says we did just $5,000 more this year. $45,000 is a lot of money. You guys, I have something here to present to you, but you're the #1 district in all of Lee County, all of Collier County, all around. So I just want to present this. It's a big deal. $45,000 is a lot of money, and you're making a lot of difference in our community. I wanted to thank Bonita Springs residents for their generosity. That's very important too, but you're making such a difference in the lives of people in our community. We have over 650 family members registered with the MDA in Southwest Florida, and you're providing help to them. You're providing hope to them. We've had numerous research breakthroughs. People are living longer and they're growing stronger than ever, and they couldn't do it without the support of all of you. The IFF is the #1 supporter to MBA in the country, and you're our #1 supporter locally as well. So I cannot thank you enough from the bottom of my heart.
So what we'll do is actually take a photograph with the check presentation.
You're going to get some mileage out of that, #1.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Great job by everybody. We're going to take a couple of minute recess here for anybody that would like to leave, not stay for the rest of the meeting. I know you're all here for the Phoenix Award, and you're all welcome to stay, but if anybody'd like to leave, we'll take a couple of minute break here.
I know. Oh. So you blocked it, so I get a little hope you didn't lose it. Good. My way, one of the two, 5,000. Oh, Jim. I stood up while I stand up.
You stood up, I said. We're so used to standing up.
Oh, she was a liaison. He was a liaison to the fire department.
Okay.
Was it something we said? Cars.
Yeah.
All right, let's call the meeting back to order. Next item on the agenda is Commissioner's business. I'll start with Commissioner Murphy this evening.
I have no extra business today.
Commissioner Casilla.
Nothing at this time.
Commissioner Fitzgerald.
I have just a couple of things we carried over from last meeting. Is this the appropriate time to discuss them? Yeah.
Unless it's one of the things that's on the agenda for later, but no, it's fine.
Okay. I promised last week that I would write a letter to the press encouraging attendance at the meeting, and I didn't write it, but I will write it tonight. I did mention that the pension board meeting should be advertised so we could have some people shown at, including myself, by the way. And I think the board meeting is Wednesday this week, and I will be there. And I see you have it posted outside, which I thank you for, by the way. There was a question on the hydrants in Bonita Springs. A few years ago, BSU promised us a schedule where they would fill the voids. When I say fill the voids, there is a standard, a national standard on hydrants, every 400 or 600 feet, I think it is. And we had a couple of incidents over on Bonita Beach Road and going towards Hickory Boulevard, where we had fires, and both fires, there were no hydrants to assist the members working. I particularly am disappointed that we don't have complete coverage on hydrants. Chief Fernandez was given a schedule. I was wondering if it was followed or maybe I guess just ask the question, what is the hydrant coverage in Bonita Springs?
Well, we just had our, this is the good time as any, we just had our ISO report done, and on a scale of a 3-point scale, Bonita Springs scored excellent for our hydrant coverage in Bonita Springs.
I actually have a copy of it in front of me, and under water supply, the highest mark you can get for our ISO rating is a 3. We got a 3. And the highest you can get for a supply system is 30, and we got 29.79, and that's through an official report. I've got that right here in front of me.
That doesn't please me, to be very honest with you. We have hydrants on Bonita Grande Road. We don't have houses. We have houses on Bonita Beach Road area, and we don't have hydrants. I don't understand that. BSU operates under franchise, and the franchise says you shall put in a water distribution serving every building and the occupants thereof in the franchise area.
And their report is online, showing the progress they're making and where their next projects are going to be installing those, and that's available on their website.
That's a nice comment, but it doesn't satisfy me at all either. Chief, you told me a couple of years ago, you were given a schedule as a result of a meeting that I had with BSU, on how they would upgrade the hydrant coverage in that particular area. But I am concerned more than that particular area. I'm concerned about all occupied sections of the city.
Commissioner,
You know,
if I may, when we looked into this, I think it was about 10 years ago or so, the issue is when the hydrant system is in place, the water mains are in place. When they're already in place, they are not required to add hydrants anywhere in a developed area that already has the infrastructure for water lines. Now, when they replace those water lines, that is under the land development order, in which they are not required to add any hydrants because that would be considered maintenance. And that's under the land development order. So as the fire department, we have no authorization to ask them or to require them to produce hydrants in those areas that are already have water available. However, in any new areas that become part of the city where we add the infrastructure, they have to adhere to the code in which the current code, meaning but they do not have to, under any circumstance, add hydrants to an existing system currently in Bonita Springs, and we don't have the authority to make them add hydrants. And in fact, when you look at the ISO ratings, we had a 3 on our ISO ratings for water supply. And I think the furthest hydrants we have away are about 1,500 or so feet. And in the area you're talking about, we did catch a hydrant on those fires. We've caught a hydrant on every one of those fires. So we have no authority over, they're responsible. In fact, when we do the ISO does not speak to us about the water supply. They go straight to BSU and get all the information from BSU about their hydrant supply. But we're not involved with their organization or the distribution system or the hydrant system that they provide the city of Bonita Springs. That's strictly under their purview.
I would tell you, I'm very disappointed to hear that. After 40 years.
Into the mic.
I'm very disappointed to hear, after 40 years of BSU being in service, that we don't have hydrants. And some of the hydrants we have are inadequate even to supply a line, on 4-inch, some of them are on 4-inch mains. I guess, let me tell you, I'm disappointed. I'm unhappy. And I guess I have to rely on you, Chief, and Chief Fernandez to tell me that it's acceptable. The fire department is satisfied with the hydrant structure in Bonita Springs. And if we're not, we should publicly go out and go after BSU and express our displeasure. Mount Christian Park, by the way, there were 200 poverty-style homes living in Mount Christian Park when I first came on the fire department. There were no hydrants in there. There is a hydrant there now, today, by the way, one hydrant. I try to get hydrants in there. I don't know how to tell you. There is some point in my life, there are things that are acceptable and things that are not acceptable. I can't sit here and say I'm a fire commissioner and say, and particularly I'm not getting it from you, to be honest with you, or Chief Fernandez, I'm not particularly satisfied that we've done everything we can to get the hydrants. By the way, the last fire we had, just to remind you the conversation, the last fire, the hydrant was over 1,000 feet away. the building was, I don't know if it was a complete loss, but it was a heavy loss. And the commentary I got when I complained as a citizen was that we don't need the hydrant. We have water on the fire truck. We didn't need the hydrants. We could do it without the hydrants. If you don't need hydrants, then we shouldn't have any hydrants.
I think I recall that
Yeah.
the first truck in, our protocol never taps a hydrant to start with, okay? They start water on the fire from the truck. Correct me if I'm wrong here. We've gone over this several times. From there, water is fed to replenish that truck. So the second or third unit on scene hits the hydrant and then replenishes. So at the end of the day, and the particular house fire that you're referring to, I believe, if we had a hydrant in front of the house, that house was fully involved when we got there, and that would not have made any difference from, as I recall, to the one you were talking about. But I do know, and I guess the question would be to the operations here, do you feel that there's anywhere, when you've pulled up on a scene, where you don't have enough water to put a fire out?
No, there's not an area in Bonita Springs at this point in time with residencies where we will not be able to immediately start firefighting operations. And we do that if the hydrant's, like you said, in the front lawn or 2 houses down, it's going to be the exact same operations as if it was 1,000 yards away.
So as representatives of this fire department that we oversee, you don't ever feel that we should go after BSU because you feel that we have an adequate water supply for any situation that we deal with? And is that a fair statement?
What I would say is there are areas that are not as well supplied as other areas in the district. However, it does not hinder our operations. And determining whether or not we should go after BSU would be up to the board. But the way the hydrant systems are laid out now and our firefighting operations are not hindered at this point.
And any time that they do an upgrade to a system, they add hydrants as needed?
Not necessarily. They will add them
If needed?
if needed, but they don't necessarily have to comply with the current standards for a new development. Do you understand?
Yep.
They do not have to comply with the standards for new development.
Well, then maybe the thing that's lacking here, to Commissioner Fitzgerald's point, is that maybe there should be a better liaison situation between Tim and BSU when you know they're going to do something, and it's all on their website, but maybe if we're being a little remiss here, maybe at that point, if an extra hydrant or 2 in an area would be beneficial, it should be maybe brought to their attention at that time.
Well, it has been brought to their attention, and it's simply, and Fire Marshal Fernandez has mentioned this before, they'll put as many hydrants as we want in, but somebody's going to pay for them besides them because they don't have to. They're not required to by law under the code. Am I correct in saying that?
That's a valid point. Again, if we have hydrants that are missing, then it would, I think, as a board, if there are areas that they are doing something and they refuse to do it, now that's a whole different ball of wax, then we should pay to put the hydrants in to make sure that our district is protected. And if it's a matter of a cost of a fixture for the matter of saving property and lives, it's a no-brainer. But having said that, we should probably have this discussion with BSU. I don't know how often they upgrade. It is on their website. But at such time, if any of you have a concern when you know they're redoing an area, then if you don't want to go to them, you should bring it to us and we go to them. But I think that's the time to address it.
The first area they did was a few years ago. That was down Hickory Boulevard, back around Luke Street and those areas there. They upgraded the water main size, and they did add hydrants down Esplanade and areas like that.
I actually remember that.
So we're a little bit about 1,000, 1,200 feet from a hydrant in those areas. There's no hydrants on the 4-inch line. To say that there's none whatsoever. Minimum size water main is a 6-inch. That's required by state law. Other than that, it's much larger. The newer communities, I'll say in the last 25 years, because of land development code, hydrant spacing is a lot closer than it has to be. And the flows in this community are unbelievable. An example I gave you, I looked at today for the fire station number 23. We're flowing over 6,000 gallons per minute out of a fire hydrant. That's unheard of in some places.
Yep.
And we have to drop several butts to get that flow we have to do to make sure we're doing it right. And so we'll flow 2 or 3 hydrants just to make sure we're getting that drop in percentage. There's some areas in the district we could flow 21,000 gallons per minute. We have a very good system here. The water main sizes are upgraded. They're externally looped and everything, so we don't have very many dead-end mains except going out east. And one of the things is the statics are very high. At one time, they're in the 90s. Now they're down in the high 70s. But with those high statics, we're getting some good flows.
Explain that to the public.
What
you mean by
static
that.
pressure is water at rest. And when you start flowing water, that's a pitot pressure, and that's how we determine how much water we have flowing out of a fire hydrant. And we'll flow 2 or 3 hydrants just to see how much water we got coming out of that hydrant. So we have a capability to fight a fire. At a minimum, fire code says all we need is 1,000 gallons per minute for single-family homes to fight a fire. And depending on the type of commercial construction, it could be even higher. But like I said, for station number 3, 23, it's around 6,000 gallons per minute. So we have very good flows here.
It's excellent.
Chief,
Yes, sir.
could I be provided with a map of the city where we do not have hydrants within a reasonable distance?
When we say reasonable, I just want to be clear here.
Well, reasonable, if there's a standard is 400 and 600 feet between hydrants. The reason I'll
The,
tell you, I use the
ISO
word-
rating-
the reason I use the word standard is when I went to BSU with the chief of this department, and I complained it was not hydrants on the east area over Bonita Beach Road. I told the chief, you can work with BSU and accept, they'll put some hydrants into a standard where you'll accept them. And that was the agreement. And that was what they were supposed to send to Chief Fernandez, a map or a plan telling us how they would upgrade the hydrants, not to my standard, but the chief's standard. I could have just said make 400, 600 feet.
Well, currently, right now, the ISO says you got to be within 1,000 feet of a fire hydrant. For the land development code, when we do new communities for single-family homes, we have them spaced 800 foot apart, so that makes it easier to figure out 1,000 foot. And around commercial buildings, it's 400 foot. Now, right now on BSU's website, like I said, the first project they did has been completed. But if you go to their website, you find a comprehensive plan of what they plan on doing in the future, and it's color-coded to what they've done already and what they plan on doing in the future and where they're at. And basically, right now, they're in what I call the state streets of the community. They're back in there doing their work and everything. And once they upgrade that area, they'll just, keep going with
It's
it.
very well defined. I don't know if you've looked at it. It is very well defined on their website.
But they're updating water main sizes and putting the hydrants where they need to be when you take a look at those.
I believe it is our responsibility, all of us, the fire board, you chief, and you, chief of fire prevention, to make a decision. Are the hydrants in this city?
And I do that all the time. For an example I give you, the old 41 redevelopment area, we upgraded that to a 10-inch water main or larger, and they got fire hydrants 400 foot apart.
Okay. Do we have any areas of the city where the hydrant locations are beyond a reasonable standard?
I did a quick review of the area, looking at their comprehensive plan, and, like I said, they're about 1,500 feet, but I feel we can protect homes with that kind of spacing.
Okay.
I just want to finish up. You're satisfied, the chief's satisfied, I'm not really satisfied. Franchise is a franchise. Says you will provide water distribution to every building.
And that's what they've
And the
done.
And they've done
occupants
that.
thereof.
They have
Right.
done that.
They have
And
done
they have
that.
not done that.
Yes, potable water, they provide it at every building when you read that.
You say 6 inches the minimum main
For a fire hydrant.
for fire hydrant.
Commissioner Fitzgerald, do you have
And the
anything else?
reason I asked, when I asked the chief about the hydrants over in that area, he said they can't put the hydrants on because the mains are only 4 inches.
But the main going to the 4-inch is a 8-inch or larger in those areas.
Maybe we could have this discussion.
And then they stub
with-
off the 8-inch or the
with
10-inch
session.
with a 6-inch.
No, it's,
Do you have-
okay.
Do you have anything else?
I'll meet with you, chief.
If I got a street with a main street with
I
a
guess I
hydrant
could
there,
just
and
ask
if
you,
I
Chief,
measure
it's
all the
your
way to the back
responsibility.
within
You
800
believe
feet,
we're okay,
and that's
I
a
don't know.
4-inch
Wait a
line,
minute.
that's
Okay,
okay.
let's bring some order back here.
Okay. By the way, if we don't discuss these things, and then just let them go, I tell you, it bothers me. I drive down streets, no buildings, hydrants.
All due respect, we've had the discussion probably 4 or 5 times, and we always end up
We
in
had
the same
twice, I
place.
think, anyway. Okay, another item that came up last month was, which bothers me, is the vacation schedule for the uniform members, and the civilians, by the way. I said, and I brought out a meeting, that there's 10 weeks vacation for a firefighter, 8.5 weeks vacation for the staff personnel. I thought that was extreme. And I thought if there was a possibility, we could maybe have a opener on a contract and see if we could adjust that. I brought this up more than once. In the past, I brought this up, and I was told it's the same on all of the fire departments down here in Southwest Florida. They all get the same, which bothers me that who's negotiating these contracts?
If we look back and play the minutes again of this same conversation, and I don't want to discuss it in any great length, but a 24-hour shift is 1 day off. When you do the math the way you're doing it, you're giving them 3 8-hour days off, and that's where the discretion comes. They do not, for the final time, get 10 weeks vacation.
Chief, will you either support that or tell me that I'm wrong?
I will tell you, the fact is that they get 21 duty days off.
21 duty days.
That's if you've been here 16 years or longer.
That's maximum.
That's maximum.
How much time is that if they took it day by tour by tour?
Tour by tour, that's 21 24-hour shifts.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's 10 weeks vacation.
We can agree to disagree on that.
It's not a disagreement. It's
It's
either
It's
okay.
misleading. It's a misleading
either
thing to put out
okay.
there.
I may.
You may.
Chief Fitzgerald, you were a firefighter in New York and chief, weren't you?
Yeah.
When you got a day off, you weren't on shift, was that your day? Was that a vacation day, or was that your day off?
I don't think it has any bearing on what I'm saying.
If you had a day off, that doesn't count towards your vacation, that's your day
If you're going to
off.
bring up the fire department in New
Excuse
York,
me, I'm still
okay.
speaking. Excuse me. Let
It
me
was
finish.
5
Excuse me.
weeks
Excuse me.
A
vacation.
little bit of order.
Now
Let
it's 10
him,
here.
let him have his floor.
I'm asking a question. I worked a shift, I was a firefighter too. And when I took my days off, my work days were my work days, my days off were mine. They weren't my vacation days, they were my days off. If I was on vacation or I was not, they were still my days off. So if I take a day off, I've had 21 vacation days, that's all the vacation days I could have. It doesn't, and I don't care how you spread them out, that the other days are mine, whether I worked or not, so they don't count in vacation. You're-
It's similar to the weekend for regular workers. You don't count Saturday and Sunday if you're off weekends as a vacation day, because you only work a 5-day week. So if you take that week off, you don't take 7 shifts off, you take 5. So it all comes back down to how you perceive a shift. And a shift is 24 hours, and that's one shift. That's one working day. And it does not come out to 10 hours. We've had this conversation many times, and I don't believe that...
You have a conversation.
Well, I don't know,
that is wrong.
I think everybody up here agrees with this philosophy, okay? So you're kind of out, out on your own with this. So if that's where you would like to continue to be, then, but the fact of the matter is, it's not 10 weeks vacation, and that is a proven fact.
You can't say that. It's not true.
I just
You
did.
cannot say that. It's not true.
Mr.
21
Chairman, may I get a word in?
You may.
I'd like to proceed on with this. We've gone through this discussion ad nauseum. I don't want to hear about it anymore personally. I want to move on and take care of the business of this district.
Well, what surprises me, Commissioners, is that if anybody should want to hear it, we five should want to hear it. We five should know what is the vacation.
We've heard it and it's duly noted, but we
And
would like to move
It
on.
comes down to, I don't know what Chief Matura understands, Commissioner Matura, excuse me. I sit here as representative of the people, and I say we're having 10-week vacation for firefighters, and I say that's wrong. And you think we're not. You think we're having something called days off and non-days off.
At the end of the day, the contract is in place, it's the normal standard, and can we please move on? Otherwise, we're going to be here till midnight.
I can't just move on. I can't
Well,
accept. You can end this in a moment. Chief, I make a motion
you
that
can't make a
we-
motion during Commissioner's
Okay.
business, you know that.
Chief, I will make a motion, I recommend, that we entertain a new system of negotiating contracts. The present system where we give 10 weeks vacation for a firefighter,
We have that on the agenda.
8.5 weeks for the staff, by the way, indicates something wrong.
Going to take a 2-minute recess. Call the meeting back to order, please. Commissioner Machado.
I know everybody wants to get out of here. I'll make this quick. I have one item. I'd like to nominate Chief Dago for a Distinguished Service Award for his actions and duties during Hurricane Irma. There's a lot that the chief did. I'd like to highlight some to justify this award. His position during Hurricane Irma consisted of 2 roles. First as Incident Commander of the Bonita Springs Fire Control and Rescue District, and second as the Incident Commander of the South Geographic Division. That consisted of Bonita Springs, Estero, and San Carlos Fire District.
Before you proceed, I'd second that motion.
It's not a motion. We can't do a motion during Commissioner's business, but we can do a consensus.
Okay. Thank you, though. He coordinated in the implementation and activation of the South Geographical Division. This is a first in Bonita Springs history. He sheltered 16 to 19 Lee County deputies for enhanced deployment from Fire District Station 24. I believe, Chief, this act is as your command post as well. Okay. He sheltered and the activated city staff to manage all city operations from this fire station as well, Fire Station 24. He established a unified messaging system for continuity between LCSO, the City of Bonita Springs, EMS, Emergency Operations Center, and the Fire District. And there's some other things that I'd like the public to know as well to justify this. It performed vehicle as well as helicopter reconnaissance to assess damages and redeploy resources to the most active and likely community hazards, conducted numerous situational updates and information sharing with city officials and first response agencies, provided ongoing emergency response for continuous community needs, that's our day-to-day emergencies, ensured appropriate staffing for the incident's duration by rotating staff for family needs, maintained and ensured equipment functionality, activated the urban search and rescue team to conduct a wide area search for victims, coordinated recovery action with the Red Cross and Bonita Assistance Office, oversight of the South Geographical Dispatch process, and during storm operations, Chief Daigle acted as the incident commander for approximately 14 days, 24 hours a day. He remained at the station for approximately a week around the clock. Chief, what would you say your span of control was during that? How many people approximately did you have to oversee?
That's a good question.
A lot of people. A lot of people.
Yes,
And
sir.
I know you had help, but I just wanted, we as a board felt that you definitely earned this honor for distinguished service. It met over and above all the criteria.
We have a consensus to put this on the agenda for next month?
I'll make, yes, I
agree.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief, and
Thank
thank
you,
you to
gentlemen.
everybody in the room, too. Everybody,
Yes, sir.
everybody stepped up for that. It was a monumental event, and everybody did an outstanding job.
Yes, sir.
And I have nothing this evening. Now, the next item, old business, Station 27 parking structure.
I'm going to put this up on the screen, if I may. Yeah, we could turn the lights down just a little, and then I'll talk about it. I would like to update the board on some of the actions that took place. I did go in front of the city council to request what the board directed me to, which was to basically get approval for the design of a cover structure for our equipment down there at 27. As you know, I presented the board with 3 separate options, at which time the board had some lengthy discussion about which option to go with, and the board directed me to move forward with the Cheeky Hut design. So with that in mind, I respectfully brought the information to the city council. They had some reservations concerning the design of the Cheeky Hut structure, and they had some comments on the other structures, and they indicated to me that they were going to reach out to the board to discuss some of the different options and the reason why they should move forward with their Cheeky Hut design or not, because they had the design approval for the cover structure. Now, that design approval was based on a variance that we received from the city to provide this structure. That was one of the contingencies, that before we built the structure in this location, or at this location in this exact spot on the property, that they would have the approval for the structure. I'm unsure of how many city council people had spoken with any of you commissioners. It was my understanding that they were going to reach out to you. However,
The deputy mayor called me, and I had about a half-hour conversation. I've had actually 2 conversations with him.
okay. So what we decided to do as a staff was to redesign the drawing that was presented to the city council, that would, we hope, not sure, that will that may pass some of their requirements. As you recall, the last Cheeky Hut design was a lot higher than the roof. We lowered the Cheeky Hut, as well as we shortened the pitch, and we also shortened the Cheeky Hut substantially and added some brown lattice work to cover the mini pumper on the side, as well as some of the plants, with the intent and hope that this would achieve the goal, which would be to present the city council with something that they can approve, and also something that the board, a modification from what the board approved before.
Chief, that would also be something the property owner would want to approve.
Yes, sir. I am going to read to you what that is going to be presented to the city council next Wednesday. Now, I have contacted the owner, and she was presented with all three options. So I'm going to read this just so you're aware, and this will explain some of the situation. The Bonita Springs Fire Control and Rescue District is presenting the Cheeky Hut design as a fire apparatus cover for the mini pumper located at the stated location, Station 27. The structure's intent is to reasonably shelter approximately $300,000 in taxpayers' emergency response assets from the elements. Included are advanced life support medications, mission-critical electronics, and other fire rescue tools and equipment. The district does have a 99-year lease with the owner, which includes approximately 800 square feet of storefront property and dock space for water rescue operations. Not included is any of the parking area. Upon entering the lease, the owner and general manager made it clear that their primary business is the Big Hickory Seafood Grill and Marina located on the property. Therefore, the fire district has maintained intentions to limit our footprint in keeping with this agreement. The property manager was approached with the design options for our sheltering structures and unequivocally preferred the Cheeky Hut design, which is similar to the Cheeky Hut design on their dockside dining area. She indicated that she did not wish to consider the other designs at this juncture. Additionally, the Cheeky Hut is the only one of the three options presented by the city architect and to the Bonita Springs Fire Commission that has been authorized for pursuit due to cost. As a reference, there are approximately 9 similar designs visible from Bonita Beach Road and Hickory Boulevard on the way to the Big Hickory Seafood Grill and Marina, in parentheses, Station 27. The Fire Control and Rescue District respectfully requests the City Council to approve the design as presented. I'm presenting, I know the board has already voted on this. The reason why I'm presenting this to you now is because there was a design altercation from the original photograph that I had presented to you, in hopes that this would satisfy the City Council.
And the main reason that we're doing this is to protect a significant investment in equipment that's not functioning because of the heat. So, you know, the question I have, I'm hoping that this will be approved by City Council. We have to broach this, that if it gets denied, we have a plan B.
Yes, sir. We have a couple of contingency plans. One of them is the reason why we have to go in front of the City Council for this
Because of the variance.
Because they approved the variance with the design approval. However, there are, or could be, other areas on the property where we could put a Cheeky Hut up and basically cover our vehicle if the board approves to do
But
such.
the property owner would prefer us to put it where the variance has been allowed.
Correct.
If the city does not allow us to do that, then we can apply for a permit to put it on the other side or put it in the front, you know, by the
Yes, sir.
entrance, or even on the back side, and we'd be okay with doing that. There'd be no reason why we couldn't do that. We prefer, and as the property owner does, to have it out by the road, and because of our agreement with that 99-year lease, that we weren't going to put a huge footprint and make people think that they were driving into a firehouse instead of the business that's there. And I totally want to live up to that agreement.
Excuse me, Chairman, would putting it in a different place affect the response time at all by not having it
I
work?
think in the same parking lot it would be
Well, we're still contingency planning that. That's not, we're hopeful.
We're
that-
hoping,
We're hopeful
to
that the
get a
city
vote
council will
to
approve.
put it there, but we also have
but
to
we have
still
the
protect our
contingency plan as
equipment.
well.
If I may.
Mhm.
Yeah, I belonged to the Freedom Boat Club when it was there, and the owner was very concerned with parking. He wanted everybody to park away from the marina so that the people going to the restaurant would have access to the parking lot, because it's limited parking. And I really don't see them agreeing to anywhere, anywhere closer to the marina on the other side of the building, but that could be negotiated. But I'm just letting you know how they feel already from just talking to them. And I can't see us spending the money that the city wanted us to spend on that exorbitant $250,000 covering for a property that we only spent $150,000 on for the building itself. The
That's
building's not worth
building's-
that much.
The building was appraised at $153,000.
It would be fiscally crazy to
And
do
we
something.
don't own the building.
We don't own the building.
We have a
This
first
works,
right
it
of
looks good, it
refusal.
fits in with the decor of the community, even the property has another one where they have the outside seating. So I just don't understand why the city's not backing us up and letting us move along with this. They may. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
but-
let's give
no,
a chance.
We just, no, I
They've
understand
been
that.
fighting us on it.
I understand that.
And everything's moot because the property owner doesn't want the expensive roof.
Well, and that's what we're up
And that's what
against.
we're up against.
All right, so it
Just
goes in
wanted to
front of the
inform
city
you this-
on Wednesday, and
Yes,
then
sir.
we go from there.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully, we get an approval on Wednesday. If we don't, then we address it next month again. and-
We'll do Plan B and
Okay.
Plan C, whatever we got to do to make it happen.
But just so you're aware, that you need to have some kind of a contingency plan, because that's how we operate. If, the longer, and it's coming into the hottest time of the year, and we're having issues with the equipment already, and we've got a lot of money tied up in equipment there, and not the money, but it doesn't do us much good if we go on a call and the equipment doesn't work.
Well, I will be there Wednesday morning and present this to the city, and
Okay?
I'm hopeful. And that was old business for 27 parking
Right.
structure.
New business, I need a motion for the disposal of assets report.
Also move.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I need a motion for the budget transfer number 2.
So
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We've got the Hanson Painting Station 4 approval contract at $21,800. That was the low bid. I need a motion for that.
I'll make that motion. I'll second it on the question.
Discussion?
Yes. What does that entail? Because I saw painting going on already. I was just
That was
wondering.
the whole building.
This is for what they've done and plus everything else? Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item, Commissioner Fitzgerald has added acquiring the services of an attorney for labor management negotiations. You have the floor, Commissioner Fitzgerald.
I contend that the history of the fire department labor negotiations is pro-fireman rather than pro-citizen, or at least equal. The 10 weeks vacation, which I will document and show you that you do get they get 10 weeks vacation and 8.5 weeks vacation, is out of sync with the United States of America. There's no one else gets that kind of vacation. And I wonder why, and how do we negotiate that?
Is this the acquiring of an attorney? Is that what you're
Well,
actually going?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, we're negotiating contracts, the union.
Not
with
till
the-
next year. We got a year to go.
I know, but I'm saying we do negotiate contracts, the staff, the chief of department, and his choice, and the union. It's too much in-house.
Actually, it's the board negotiates with the labor contract. Administration does
Well, I've been on
the
this board, I
legwork.
never saw a proposal by this board to stipulations or demands on the contract, ever.
We did them in this room here countless times that you were at, in shade meetings, Ed, countless times.
a concurrence and repeating from year to year is really not contract negotiations. There's a line item type of negotiations which are required. I brought up the 10 weeks prior to this negotiation, and I thought I was negotiating with the
All
commissioners.
right, we're back to
when
the
I thought
10,
it was negotiating.
the item that we're going to vote on here is whether we're going to acquire the services of an attorney for labor management, and that's...
That's my motion.
That's a
I
motion.
believe that we need to have someone other than the,
If you make that motion on the floor, then we'll get a second.
I make a motion that we hire labor negotiators to negotiate contracts with the union.
Is there a second? Motion fails for lack of a second. Next item on the agenda is a budget calendar. Have we all looked that over?
Yes.
Is there any problems with those dates?
No.
They're good to me.
Do you want a motion for those? Or, okay, a motion to accept the budget calendar?
I make a motion to accept those
I'll
dates.
second that.
All in favor?
All right.
All right.
All right.
Chief Daigle's report?
Yes, sir. Good evening again, gentlemen. I had a couple items here. Some of them we've addressed already, but I did want to discuss a significant item that I have, which is our ISO rating. We received our ISO rating, and our ISO rating went down, which is an improvement. We were a 3.9, and now we are a 2.2, which is a significant leap from where we were in the past. The process was spurred when the board decided to go ahead with Building Station 26, which allowed me to move forward with asking ISO to renew or to come and reevaluate our 3.9 ISO rating. Now, when you look at ISO, that includes, they look at our entire operations. They look at our water distribution system, our staffing, our trucks, our locations of where our trucks are, our PES, our public education program. It goes from soup to nuts in determining how we rate. So I did want to mention that, and that it is a very good thing for the citizens of Bonita Springs, and in some cases, it will certainly help the insurance rates that our citizens will be able to obtain, help them be reduced. Also, the ISO rating shows that we can adequately provide fire protection throughout the city. I did want to give some special recognition to people that made this happen. Of course, as you know, we have an amazing staff here. So I wanted to talk about our PES program, Nicole Hornberger, who achieved high ratings as well in the ISO. The training division, the ISO officer meets with training, and they pull all of our training records to see if they're appropriate to meet a level 2. BSU, they are also, we don't accompany them. ISO just goes to BSU and asks them about their water distribution system, hydrant locations, projections, and where we are with our entire distribution level. Also, fire prevention plays a big part in how often we inspect our buildings, and do we meet the standards for inspection to achieve an ISO rating 2. And I also want to give some, obviously some recognition to the Assistant Chief and especially Deputy Chief Madden, who put a large majority of this together to make this happen. So this is a very, very big community effort to achieve this goal, and I just wanted to thank the staff and everybody involved for allowing this to happen. And the commissioners, I did want to say too that the commissioners play the biggest role, because the commissioners are the ones that allow us and listen to the taxpayers and express to me the level of service that you want the fire district to provide. And when you do that through budgeting, through staffing, and approving recommendations by myself and the staff to achieve this goal. So in the end, it boils down to what level of service the commission who's voted by the taxpayer would like to see. And we have achieved an ISO 2.
It was a long way getting there. And it was a long and winding road, but you guys did an amazing job. And you have my appreciation.
If I may, being a former fire chief, what you did was incredible. I was involved up north, and it was unheard of what you came up with. This is such a feat for the citizens of this community. It not only presents that you have one of the best fire departments in the area, because you have to prove everything about the fire service you have has to meet a criteria that's incredible. And then the taxpayers get a break in their insurance costs.
Especially commercially.
Commercially,
insurance
everyone,
really-
every citizen,
really
every
makes a
business.
big difference.
To me, this is just, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I know how hard it is, and we couldn't get it. It was just, there was so many criteria you had to be right on. And I want to credit you with a lot of work. I know Eric had a lot to do with it, all the chiefs. To me, this is a monumental feat, and I am so proud to just even be involved with this. The people of this community should say thank you. Not only monetarily, but the service. You could see tonight we had another Phoenix Award. That's part of it. Thank you, Chief. I really appreciate it, as a commissioner and as a citizen. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Chief, let me just say a few words. We have a great department, no doubt about it. Members of the fire service are duty-bound. They do their job under all conditions. All conditions include the loss of life. They follow orders, they do what they're told. They're like soldiers and sailors. Job is never easy, sometimes almost impossible. But I expect, and I've seen this department, and almost every department I've ever been associated in, fill their role. Now I want to address my role. I am an elected representative of the people. My role is twofold, is to make it possible that the gentlemen can do their job. My other role is to represent the people. And I praise this department, maybe not equally to everybody else, because I find some weaknesses, some problems. And I bring up a 10-week vacation, and I am stonewalled. And matter of fact, Chief, you don't speak to that item fairly. 10 weeks vacation is 10
It's very
weeks
difficult to
vacation.
put administrative
Now, this-
staff in that position to go against commissioners. That's really putting administrative staff in a very bad spot.
Okay, what spot they're in, what spot I'm in. I'm here elected representative. I am not going to sit.
We're in the middle of the chief's report, Commissioner, and I'm going to call a point of order here.
I will finish
Chief.
up by telling you, my obligation is as strong as your obligation. Your obligation on firefighting, fire service, defense of the people. My obligation to the residents of Bonita Springs is as strong. If there is
Chief, would
something
you
wrong-
continue with your report, please?
You could have the meetings much quicker if I don't speak at all, and we don't discuss anything.
The chief is in the middle of his report. We made a comment on the ISO rating. You've had commissioner's business, and now we're going to move on. Thank you. Chief?
Yes, sir. I did want to discuss the memorial park that we are in the process of designing over near Station 1, where the beautiful painting is. We have a design that we will be presenting and going out, and as you have seen, we'll be going out and looking for getting some cost numbers, which is kind of difficult to do. None of us have ever designed a memorial park. So I've tasked Deputy Chief Madden to look at some costs. And also, we do have some takers on the donation side. We're unsure. I think we do have a company, I don't want to mention their name right now, but we do have a couple companies that are willing to hold some fundraiser events. They really want to be part of this. So I just wanted to inform the board that we are moving forward with that, and we're very excited about it, and we'll see where that heads, and I'll keep you abreast of what's going on.
You got a time frame of when you're going to give us an update on that? Because I think all of us up here would like to have something done by the next 9/11.
The minute that we have a a cost structure. That's the most important thing at this point. We have the design, we have the will. I know the board has shown tremendous support for this. The only thing we're waiting for is to find somebody to give us a cost on it.
That's fair enough.
You said we have a design?
We do have a design.
Could you send me a copy of it? I haven't
Yes, sir.
seen it yet.
Yes, sir.
Please.
If I hadn't sent it, I apologize.
I haven't
thought
seen it
maybe-
either.
Okay, I'll send you the design of the
Thank you.
part. Yes, sir.
You say, Chief, that some agencies are contributing, indicating financial support. Do we have any idea, are they public or
The private.
all private?
Yeah, private. Once we get this.
Do we have, so how are we coordinating that type of activity? How are we getting some businesses or some organizations to contribute?
Through the Chamber of
Commissioner
Commerce,
Murphy was a liaison. Is that position over?
It's through the Chamber, usually
I have
liaison.
made contact with the chamber already,
With
and
the
we've discussed
chamber,
this, and they've
yeah.
given us some ideas how they can help.
And I did want to mention that anyone can go out and push for some fundraisers. However, just to ensure, I did speak with Terry Lewis about it, our attorney. He says you cannot seek funds as a commissioner, but as a citizen, you can. As a regular citizen, but not as a commissioner, just to make sure that the board was aware of that.
Correct. Everything else, Chief?
A couple things. I know this is a little long, but I did want to show, I think the Assistant Chief has some pictures, if we could. Quarterly, what we do is we go to the Golisano Children's Hospital. We went there, when was it, Friday night?
Yes,
Friday night, and I didn't know, I hadn't been there, but I didn't understand the gravity of what our troops were doing out there. What they do is they show up, it's a conglomeration through the county. You have some Lee County Sheriff's Office, and you have some, our fire district, of course. Well, these kids who are sick, of course, they love seeing the firefighters. So this is just a picture of one of our crews with one of the kids out there, and this was sent by Lieutenant Lanza, sent this picture to us. And if Greg wants to thumb through, they see us, there on their board. And from my understanding, when they put the ladder truck up, the kids who cannot come out to see them, they put the truck up so the kids can see them in the windows. If you'd hold this right here, Greg. So the kids can see them in the windows, and from what I understand, the kids just go absolutely nuts seeing the firefighters in the ladder going up. Now here, what they do also for the kids is, there's one of our firefighters, if you see him up there on the building, rappelling down. They rappel down the building and wave to the kids through the windows too. So you can imagine what that must be like for those kids. And just I was struck by this. I'm sad to say that I had not been there yet. And after I saw this, I just wanted to bring it to the board's attention of some of the things we do. There's another wonderful shot. And this just shows some more
That's
pictures.
awesome.
Yeah, the lights up there, the representative, what do the lights represent there, Assistant Chief, again?
It's just all the kids' lights up there. Those are the rooms that the kids can't come out, so their rooms are lit up. That's why the fire
okay.
trucks, and they do it at night,
Okay.
towards dusk, so you can see it all.
If you go through one more, I think there's another one. Yeah, see, that shows the truck company up there for them. Really spectacular that the hospital allows us to be part of these kids' lives. There's Calvin Payne, he's one of our firefighters there, and a couple other guys from the USAR team. There's Calvin. Calvin was one of the ones up on the building as well. Okay. And then we're moving into, we did an expose at the terraces. I believe Commissioner Casilla was there, in which the firefighters showed up and, helped the citizens there and informed them about
She's
what.
the lady on the right is 98 years old.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And that's Commissioner Casilla in the red hat there.
He's only 92.
There I am.
So
That's the
I just
latest
wanted to show
98.
this.
What a sweetheart.
Just showing you some of the things we've been doing in the community the last few. Okay. And finally, I would like to introduce someone. This is Councilwoman Laura Carr. She is our new liaison to the fire district. I'd like to welcome her. She's going to be so kind to come in, I believe, Wednesday or Thursdays? One of the days. And we're going to do a full orientation of the fire district and how we operate and what it means and your roles in, the district and how we function. So we're excited about that. And we're
Welcome,
glad
and
to have
thank you for doing that.
And that is all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Assistant Chief DeWitt.
I just have one quick thing, again, I just wanted to go over a few things. In case you guys didn't know, we had a fire on last Thursday, structure fire last Thursday, and I just wanted to quickly go through some pictures real quick to show you what we did. It was a single-family home. Commissioner Casilla was there also at this when he showed up. This is us laying a line into there. The hydrant was about 5.
Is this the one off of Meadowlark?
Off of Meadowlark Road, or Meadowlark Avenue. We laid about 500 feet of hose there. Total of 6 units on scene. Ladder 26 was having to be standing by at Station 2, and they were the first ones on scene. Used tank water to start the extinguishment. Actually, the third-in truck was the one who got the hydrant finally, because they when they came in, the second due gave all its water to the ladder truck, so they could continue with the fire operation. They pulled a 2.5 round to the back. Here's a couple of our new firefighters getting ready to go in. As you see, this was fully involved in the back half of the building, the C side of it. No one was in. Well, you had one minor injury. It started in the back corner of it. Some of the concerns was that power line you see there. We were almost ready to shut down. We had leak control on the line. We were going to shut down the whole power grid. When we got there, that main feeder line was arcing and jumping. So that was a concern for our firefighters. As you see, the hose lines going into there, into the structure, ladder truck getting everything ready. I want to zoom ahead. I just want to show you how close some of the structure was to the fence. There's Commissioner Casilla. But, this house fire was, this whole back of the structure was fully involved in fire and smoke when we got there, and it was so hot it caught the actual fence on fire. Just from the radiant heat from that. There was no flame impingement, it was just the radiant heat. That's after Commissioner Casilla got done with putting the fence out. This is just a cruise after we've got the initial knockdown, getting ready to go in and do some more overhaul work on the inside. You can see the ceiling was all down. We pulled ceiling. It had got up into the attic of the structure. And this is what the back half, this is where the fire started and got up into the eaves and ran through the actual attic work of the actual structure. It's still under investigation by the state fire marshals. But none of our crew was injured. They had one minor injury of the homeowner. She'd went back in. She had 5 dogs and 2 cats. 3 dogs were accounted for, and 4 dogs were accounted for, and no cats. So, but other than that, she had minor injuries. Transported to a local facility. But I just wanted to let you guys know that we had that fire over the week. So,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. And that's all I have, sir.
Deputy Chief Scott.
Nothing, sir.
And as usual, Deputy Chief Madden's report is attached. And as usual, a nice job slowing down a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Final item this evening, public comment. I have a card for Mr. Alexander Grant.
Yes, based upon the Foster and Foster study of February 6, 2018, I'm requesting that I looked at the pages 31 and 32 of that report, and that's why I'm asking if the board would consider having a contract with a statistician at Florida Gulf Coast University. I would assume that it would not be more than a 2-day job one time for, you know, for the next 10 or 15 years. And maybe it would be $2,500, I don't know. But if you could put that in your budget for the 2018-19 period of time, and have that statistician look at the exact costs, what would be for the liability for the pension fund for the structural firefighters, because we have about at least 20 or more pensioners receiving pensions based upon $70,000 and $80,000 when they were here in 2010, and then we have another group of probably about 20 pensioners that will be eligible for the pension in the year, in the next 9 or 10 years, and you're going to have at least 40 or more people getting a pension of over $100,000 a year. Now, I want to know how this is going to be affecting the overall cost to the department when this happens. It may occur in your time on the board or may not, I don't know, but it's a good idea to look at this, say, in a 10-year projection from now. So I have some figures that I have done, but my statistical background is minimal. I've only had 3 graduate courses in statistics from North Carolina State, where I got my master's degree. And what I'm looking for is somebody that can do a statistical analysis for a 2-study variable. And I'm willing to talk to the statistician with one of the board members, if you wish, to try to further explain the situation to that statistician at no charge to the department. But I have some figures that I have done, and basically you're going to have a bunch of people that are going to be getting over $100,000, not less than that, in about 10 to 12 years, and I don't know where this is going to lead. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anita Vandegrift. I just want to express my appreciation to our fire department, our paramedics. I had to call the paramedics again for Bob, and they were there in less than 5 minutes. I just can't thank you, everybody in the whole department. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. Our best wishes. Any further public comment? Motion to adjourn?
Do you have page 2?
Oh, well, that's just an FYI.
Okay.
Wait, that's not.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Meeting adjourned. Thank you for coming.